where some people saw tragedy, a lot of us saw triumph. It was good. Yeah. Huge uptick in individuals wanting to start a site. E-commerce was really big. Sure, between WordPress and probably Shopify, there was tons of opportunity there. But that was the big thing. Anything that's e-commerce, a lot of people want to do like personality type things because we're in that social media era. So they wanted to connect their brands and these kind of things. Yeah, so we saw a lot of those sites.
This episode is brought to you by Malcare. Learn more about protecting your WordPress website at malcare.com. It's WordPress security for high-performance websites. If you're running a high-performing WordPress website, or you've built one for your customer, don't let it get hacked. There are many security tools out there, but they don't really protect your site and give you and your customer the peace of mind that you need. Enter in Malcare. Sure, you've tried your web host security products. You've tried other WordPress plugins. Too slow. Cloud firewalls. Who wants to change DNS? Get Malcare at malcare.com and start protecting your high-performance and performing WordPress websites today. Thanks to Malcare for supporting today's episode. Start protecting your WordPress website for free at malcare.com. The house that WordPress built, or will build anyway. It can be challenging for a new WordPress freelancer to get started in this industry. You have to find the right tools, the right customers, get paid, and actually build the websites. Is there a right path to take? Meet Terry Carter, manager at Newfold Digital, WordPress Live, and Blue Sky teams. Terry is also a WordPress freelancer who kickstarted his side hustle after winning a web design contest at a previous company. Terry joins us to share his experience with supporting WordPress and WooCommerce users at his day job and what works for him as a part-time freelancer. We'll learn how the market jumped pre-COVID, how things are adjusting, and where you can spot new opportunities coming into the market. Thanks to Malcare and Blogvault for supporting the show. If you want to support me, thank them and support them by signing up for one of their plans. You can also support me by buying a digital coffee or joining my fantastic private Discord server. Head on over to buymeacoffee.com/MattReport. I'll shout your name from the Twitter rooftops, I promise. Okay, here's the episode with Terry. Oh yeah, one more thing. I used the wrong microphone when I recorded this episode, so my voice sounds a little weird.
Oh, well, I am a big Ohio State Buckeyes fan, as you could probably see. Go Bucks. But you framed it perfectly. You framed it perfectly, Matt. So what we do is we are a company that actually teaches people how to use WordPress. You know, how to, and it's not just, it's like teaching a man to fish, right? You don't want to just catch the fish for him. You want to teach him. So if you're like a business owner and you want to get more involved, we teach you how to get in there and use resources, use plugins, be savvy, think like a developer, and think like someone who would be working WordPress rather than just, hey, let me just swap a picture here or be overly reliant on things like page builders and other stuff. We really like to get in and just work with people on how to do that.
You worked at Bluehost, and then it became part of Newfold? Because you were doing this before Newfold, right, with an organization?
Correct. So what happened, Newfold is the company where it's not a merger between Endurance International, which
right.
Where we were. We had all of the brands under there, and also we merged with web.com. So between the two, we kind of came together, and now Newfold Digital was created. So I was part of the Endurance International group prior to Newfold. But even before them, I worked for a major hosting company who's prior to even
they'll remain nameless. We don't have to name them.
Right. But so that's how I originally got started. And strangely enough, you know what, Matt? Before I actually worked for that one large hosting company, I never had any real tech experience. The overwhelming vast majority of my baptism into the tech space and definitely into WordPress was at that company. So I guess to that end, I should be grateful. But
and then you were telling me that folks could just call up and I might be paraphrasing it, but they could just call up and say, teach me WordPress. This goes beyond, so two things here. This goes beyond, hey, I've got a problem with my WordPress website. I'm going to just send you a message, and can you just tell me what button to click on? They can actually have a conversation with you, spend time with you, to the point where you mentioned in our pre-interview that you actually found some people who are like agencies or freelancers themselves.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of being like, hey, can you teach me how to do this? And you're like, wait a minute, aren't you getting paid to do this? What are you calling me for? Talk about the experience of what it's like to just like connect with somebody from your team.
You know what? I have to say, so even though at this point I don't really get on the phones so much because my roles change and I've done other things within the company and I still do other things, I would say probably the most fun times were on the phone. I tell you what, we've worked with some really awesome people. So one thing, we have a broad range of people, just like you mentioned before. It's literally people from like grandma with a cat blog and pictures of her grandchildren, all the way to like someone who's a developer but just doesn't know the WordPress platform. Yeah. And they like to get in, hey, you know what? I don't know this real well. I don't know how this platform works. Strangely enough, believe it or not, most times as clients, sometimes the cat blogger grandma is the easier client to work with.
I can totally see that. There was some massive financial capital allocation company the other day I saw on the news, and they are making a bid to buy Kohl's, the retail store.
Wow.
So I'm just like, I've never even heard of this company. And I looked them up, and they have a 6.5% stake GoDaddy. And I look at their website, and it's a website that was built probably looked like 2001. And as you do, right? As you do as a WordPress person, you right click view the source, and it's
absolutely all the time,
right?
All the time.
It's WordPress, and it has literally probably 50 style sheets that it's loading. And I'm just like, oh man, this is $1 billion company, and they don't even optimize. They don't care. They don't care. But I'm sure if they got on the phone with you, they would be the ones that were the biggest pains in the butt, and probably wouldn't want to spend any money either.
Oh yeah. That's something we run into at times. Because you know what? I don't know what it is, Matt. Some people think that WordPress is synonymous with free. It's open source, but a question I used to always ask would be, okay, who is your competition and what is your competition doing? I can guarantee you your competition is not using free resources. Or now some people I would say, hey, if you're just trying to learn WordPress and figure out what you're trying to do and you want to maybe try with a free theme at first, okay, let's give you that and see if you want to go. But you're absolutely right. Some of those individuals with those are like they're the biggest pains. Then we have some people who every now and again don't always stay within the parameters of reality. It's there's some stories there, but you know what? We want to help everybody.
And what did you do when somebody came to you and they're like that typical customer? Hey, this thing doesn't work. And then you logged into your site, or maybe now your team logs into the site. You saw 150 plugins installed. Do you have to coach them back? And did you go as deep as saying, okay, let's remove these plugins. You don't need this. And that's an education process on its own. Never mind how to use the site.
Definitely. And you know what? That's why it's good that we have monthly subscriptions. Some people, as I'm sure you can imagine, are with us longer than others. So we like to get in there and educate people. And sometimes there is that. There's a lot of things. Sometimes it's just simple as a little 500 error or something like that. Other times it could get pretty serious. A lot of things we do try to coach people on, like user error type thing. Oh, it's broke. This person is it. Okay, user error. It's like, first things first, let's narrow it down.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look in here. Do you have any updates? Do you have, like you said, 150 plugins? And Are all of those being used? And then do you have them like on a super tiny shared server that you got the introductory package on, but you want to build the next Amazon? What are we, like what are we
That's the
working
reality
with?
coaching that you have to get back into.
Oh yeah, it can be. You know what? Sometimes it reminds me of. Have you ever seen those progressive commercials where it's like, "Hey, don't be like your parents." Sometimes it can be like that. It could be like that. But you know what? It is really rewarding because when I say we talk to some of the most amazing, some people we talk to, and because we work with them so frequently, like we literally develop good relationships with those people. A lot of our former clients and customers I keep in touch with via email or follow on social media. Some who have e-commerce sites, like the guys in the office, we go and we support them and like order things from their sites and that kind of thing. So we do like to keep that going. It's a really good way to connect with people. But everybody doesn't always connect, as I'm sure you can imagine.
I want to get into talking about WordPress freelancing, what you do in WordPress freelancing, what you have done in the past. But before we get to that, for the majority of folks who listen to this podcast, a lot of them are agency owners. We're very used to talking about the $5,000 website, the $10,000, the $50,000 project, a small team working on a custom WordPress software, piece of software, something really big. And it's just a different type of person. Is there... And we don't see, and what I'm getting at is what we don't see is we don't see maybe the folks that your team is talking to who are, like you said, maybe on that introductory plan, they're just getting started and they're really just struggling to use the software because they're also business owners. They're trying to get their business off the ground. They don't have, not just the funds to maybe build a big $5,000, $10,000 website. They don't have the time. There's no time to even think about that.
Oh, yes.
What have you learned as a freelancer to see sort of the people really getting started and the reality of, maybe someday you'll spend 10 grand to build a website, but right now, this is where you're at. What's the mindset of that type of person?
You know what? In my opinion, in that situation I call low-hanging fruit, if you're a beginner freelancer, that is such a great place to get started with those individuals because they're that place. I look at them as somewhat as they're in that rocky phase. They're running up the steps, training and the whole thing.
I was going to say Rocky Balboa, not just like Rocky Sharp and Hard.
Exactly. Yeah. Rocky Balboa, boxer. Yeah. So, but what they're thinking, and a lot of them, what they want to do is they're like, hey, I want to get there. I have this goal. I don't know what I don't know. But I know I need a good website if I'm going to be visible in 2022. I know that I need some of these things. I just need a little help. I need somebody to give me a fair one. I don't have the huge budget. I don't have the big name. I don't have all the connections. But look, I just need that one break. I need one person to kind of help me out. And that's really what that person is thinking. Sometimes they do have money put up for a budget, but like you said, everybody's budget isn't 10 grand.
Right.
And so then an agency's not going to look at you. They're going to say, all right, well, they're going to pat you on the head. Come on back when you grow up a little bit. But that's where the freelancer comes in. And really, and when you go buy what I call the Walmart, you're not going to buy from Walmart what you would from Gucci. But there's more people who are going to go to Walmart than they're going to have the bulk in the big things. There's a lot of opportunity there for you to be very, very successful. And I've been able to kind of work that angle at some different points in my life. And it can be very beneficial to you and also to the person you're helping.
Let's progress into a strategy around freelancing and then you parlay that into what you've been doing. One huge opportunity. I love the idea of that, looking at it as the Walmart versus Gucci. There's tons of opportunity when, especially if you're just starting out. And we'll talk about what happens when you start to level up over time, because eventually if you're just one person and you had 5,000 Walmart shoppers coming at you, you'd be like, I got to get out of here.
Right.
I can't do everybody here. Hey, what $200 websites? And everyone started knocking on your door. Okay, slow it down. I can only do 10 a month. But there's huge opportunity And especially now, today is Thursday. A couple days ago, WordPress 5.9 was released with the whole new full site editing experience. That alone could build a business for somebody for the next 6 months to a year of just servicing customers using this new tool, this new opportunity, because it's so brand new that at the minimum, there's small business WordPress users out there who are like, can you just show me how to use this thing? You don't have to build me a site. You're just going to show me how to use this. What other areas of opportunity, or do you just see really good opportunity in the new update to WordPress for somebody to hitch their business horse to? Like what big opportunity for WordPress do you see right now for the freelancer?
So in terms of freelancing, and I literally, just for the first time, I got to play with Josephine just a few days ago, the latest WordPress update. And it could potentially be a game changer because now you have something that's a lot more robust that you can actually start doing front end type things with, and you could make it a little bit more custom. And though I'm sure we're going to have some updates and they're going to have some additions and things on in time to come, I think what WordPress is trying to do now, they're trying to take some of that market share and from maybe a Wix, a Squarespace, where you have that simplicity and that Weebly, or keep on going down the line. Right. But any of those, they're trying to also tap into that market where, you can build a good site, at least starting off. You could build one, and it's not super difficult in order to do it, but it's manageable. It's going to take, if you're not a tech person and that person isn't really savvy, might challenge you a little bit, but definitely not impossible to learn. And you won't necessarily bang your head against the wall per se. But I think I was going to say Walmart. No, but I think WordPress made a very savvy move with developing this new update. And the things that you're able to do with it, I think is cool. I also think from a freelance perspective, if you're trying to get started and you're saying, hey, look, I'm offering a landing page, a contact page, and an about page for, I don't know, $500, $300, whatever, something like that. I think it's a real easy tool that won't cost you anything, that you can get in there and you could really manipulate and work, and you could do some good work with it.
Do you get a little worried when now end users who might not be super savvy, they get this new update and they're like, hey, Terry, guess what I did to my website? And you're like, oh God, no. They're like, what did you do? And they're like, I moved the navigation to the sidebar, and I took my logo and put it at the bottom of the site. Do you get worried about all of the control now that WordPress is? Great for folks like you and me and people who are listening, but maybe the cat blogger, maybe you shouldn't touch that button.
Right. That does worry me sometimes. From a freelance perspective, it's okay. Yeah, you done broke stuff. All right. Now we're putting in advanced custom fields and we're doing this, and you're not going to have us just, okay, yeah, stay out of the kitchen while mom and dad are cooking. No. So I could see where that could definitely backfire. I think that there will probably be a pretty good amount of those type of incidents. It's just, for example, if you go to the beach and you see a lot of people out there swimming, but you can't, looks like they're having so much fun, you just want to go jump in, not realizing, hey, I could drown. These people could swim. And I think it might be a similar type of experience there, because it does give you a lot of control and many points of access and in those type of things. And then if you're a site owner and you're building for somebody, if someone's a site owner, you're building for them, you don't want to just lock them out of stuff or change their user role where they can't do certain things or what have you. You don't want to do that, but clients can get in and be kind of nitpicky and want to do little things. So you have to be careful there. But you just have to set up your parameters. It's like you have to set proper expectations and let everyone know, okay, this is how we're going to move forward.
Great for the business. Great for the business. If they break it, you get to come back and send them an invoice again, right? It's like a plumber. If you had a plumber come to your house or an electrician and fix some, minimal thing, and there's a couple $100 to fix it, but then you break it again. Well, they're not just going to come back and do it nor should we, just because we can sit on our couch, log into their website and drag it around. No, it's still pay. Or you sell them this whatever maintenance contract every month. They're paying you to support them with the site. Let's talk about your freelance career. We've talked about the opportunity of WordPress, certainly now with 5.9, with all the tools, page builders, Gutenberg, full site editing. I liked your thought process on the approach of if you're a brand new freelancer starting out, it's okay to be Walmart first and then upgrade to Gucci, however you want to do that step. What has been really working for you? Again, going back to the tweet that I found you on, what's working for you to build that sort of freelance career?
So all right, so let me go back a little bit. This is how I first got started, and it worked for me. And in fairness, some of what I built from the freelance perspective was prior to COVID. So that's my disclaimer. But I think a lot of these things will still work, even with the pandemic, even though in certain aspects we might have to move a little differently. This is what I did. I, at that time, had won a PlayStation 4 in a web design contest that my job was having at the time. And I just happened to post it on my Facebook page and say, hey, look what I won in this web design contest at work. This is fantastic. Next thing you know, my inbox started going. Hey, you think you could do one for me? Hey, and within that day, I literally had about 9 leads for sites, to build sites for people. And I was overwhelmed at the time. I was like, hey, this is fantastic. Let's go. And then as time moved on, I got a little bit more savvy. I went to things like WordPress meetups. I went to small business meetups and other types of places where people were professionals, any type of professional meetup. And then probably one of the most lucrative things I did, joined a cigar club. Because automatically within a cigar club, it would at least be assumed that at least the majority of the people in there have disposable income, right? So I would network with these people and I would talk to these people. And even if they didn't know me directly or they didn't deal with me directly, hey, you know what? I know somebody who might need a website. Hey, I'll refer you. And then that's how I really got started. And then before that, what I would do, and then in that time, I would build myself a somewhat of a portfolio. I'd build a few sites that I thought were cool and that would be good to show off and say, hey, you're looking for work. This is what I'm able to do. And that's how I was able to get started. And then once you do well on maybe about the first 3 projects, your phone will never stop ringing.
Yeah.
You'll always get hit up.
Yeah.
It's just networking and just delivering what you say you're going to deliver.
Yeah. I actually, I'm going to say this, but I also haven't heard this in a while, but maybe I'm just not listening in the same places I used to. But there used to be this huge, people used to scoff, designers, developers on Twitter and on any kind of like podcast or group that you're listening to, how to grow your freelance career, how to grow your agency. People would always say, never work for free, always have to charge what you're worth, blah, 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 all this stuff. And look, I think maybe I just come from a different school of work ethic, but if I find the right customer that will just make my portfolio 10 times better, and they were like, hey, would you do this for free? Yeah. Yes, that's just me. I would do something at, maybe not ultra free, maybe like an ultra discount or whatever, but I would say, man, if somebody knocked on the door and they were, I don't know, celebrity, big business, a good logo, and can I use your logo in this portfolio, in my portfolio? And they said, yes, I would absolutely do it, because I know as long as I can control the project a little bit, I know that I could 10x my income. Do you think that is still something that should exist? Do you have different thoughts on the value of when you're starting out as a freelancer, like what that price point might be for a freelancer?
And that's a very good question, Matt. In my personal opinion, and going by what has been beneficial for me, the guy who's now building the house that WordPress built, being a little facetious. But in my personal opinion, I'm more of the ilk that would agree with you. I think when you're starting off and you're a freelancer, now granted, hey, if you're doing that 100% exclusively and you have no other source of income, I could see why money might be a factor. I could see why, hey, you need to charge what you're worth. You need to make sure that you handle that business. But by the same token, I also look at it kind of like you're in the internship phase. You sometimes, hey, you got to work for free. Sometimes you have to take those small hits now in order to progress later. Yeah. And sometimes you'll be surprised that those freelance opportunities can put you in places that are really lucrative. I agree with you on that. Now you have to have balance, right? You can't just go doing everything for free. So yeah, we get that. But like I said, just with me, I believe that sometimes you should take one for the team here and there, even if it's something for a good cause. There might be a good charitable thing in your area or your region, something you're passionate about and want to do. For example, you might know maybe a shop owner or a store owner in your area who's doing that. Hey, you know what? I just wanted to spread a little love. Look what we could do. Let me just build your website and we'll do this just to help increase your business. This will do things. Sometimes just doing that, you'd be surprised how those kind of things end up coming back to you.
This is why it's also important to, and correct me if I'm wrong or add your points to it, but this is why it's also important to specialize in what you can provide. So like you said before, like I'll do a landing page, contact page, and about page or whatever. Set up your blog, teach you how to use it. That's 5 things. And that's what I do. It's this price. But then if that same person says, can you do e-commerce? Can I put a store on this? You can put a store on it. But for this price, right, all I'm doing is this. And right. And that's how you do that sort of Walmart approach. Because then you can start to serve, not just in a price point, but in a process. That's what people overlook, is that it's only $200, let's say, your web, or $500 is the website charge cost. But as you refine that process, you get better at it, which means your margins start to increase. So Absolutely. You can start to serve more of these Walmart shoppers faster, more efficiently, which means you can run the business more efficiently, more profitably. And then you knock on that charity's door. You say, hey, I'll do this for free. Oh, can you do the e-commerce for us? No, but I'll do this for free.
Right. This, yeah. Hey, this is what I do.
You. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Did you see an uptick when COVID hit for people saying, please God, give me a website? Because I did, and I've been out of the agency game forever. Old customers who didn't launch sites with me years ago came knocking on my door. I need a website. Now I'm like, where were you a decade ago when I was selling this stuff to you? What was the response in your neck of the woods?
Oh, you know what? The COVID has been where some people saw tragedy. A lot of us saw triumph. It was good. Yeah. Huge uptick in individuals wanting to start a site. E-commerce was really big. Sure, between WordPress and probably Shopify, there was tons of opportunity there. But that was the big thing. Anything that's e-commerce, a lot of people want to do like personality type things because we're in that social media era. So they wanted to connect their brands and these kind of things. Yeah. So we saw a lot of those sites. Yeah. E-commerce, like e-commerce sites, the rise of the e-commerce site post-COVID was massive.
Do you have any personal goals for growing the freelance side of your career? Anything else that you're like really shooting for in 2022?
I definitely want to advance and do more. I will probably just personally, I want to kind of push myself maybe to be able to add something with a little bit more function, do things that are a little bit more complex, just go deeper into the type of sites that I'm able to build and offer. Yeah. So let's say what someone may want to build in, where usually you would have to get somebody and say, hey, you might need something like React or something like that in order to build. I would like to kind of push and be able to customize a lot better using WordPress.
Yeah.
That would be something that would really, really be cool. And one of these days, maybe even build my own theme.
Yeah, absolutely. With
haven't done that yet.
Yeah, with what they're doing now with block patterns and being able to have a block pattern directory, boy, it's going to be really easy. That is the exciting thing for me, is I think we'll be able to, in a not too distant future, like right now, you can go to the block pattern directory, see a pattern that you like, literally copy that code, paste it into your WordPress site, and the whole structure's there. And I'm just like, okay, that's awesome. And I think we're going to be at the point fairly soon where you'll be doing that with code, with a query block, more custom fields or some other functionality. Well, you'll have this like little book of stuff you can just copy and paste from and just build the site. And I think that's going to be super powerful. After I pick up my brains from the floor, just use React, Matt. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, sure.
Well, but React is literally, it's literally probably the JavaScript version of WordPress.
Sure. Yeah.
Like it is. And I'm actually seeing now where WordPress is able to integrate a lot, like on Jamstacks and things like that, with other, like with other platforms and other things. I think the way it's going, even on an advanced level with developers and things like that, I think that's a good place that WordPress is going. They're venturing out into some pretty dope territory.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Terry, this has been an amazing conversation. Where can folks find you on the web to say thanks?
Oh, well, yeah, if you want to hit me up on Twitter, Terry Pep, P-E-P, that's my nickname. So Terry Pep Carter on Instagram or on Twitter. Yeah, Twitter and Instagram. I'm on both of those. I'm on Facebook too, but who really does Facebook all like that anymore? But
who does the metaverse?
Any of those? Yeah, but any of those, even if you want to just stop by and say hi, I do follow back. If you want to talk about anything WordPress related or what we do at Blue Sky or Bluehost or Blue anything and WordPress Live, no problem. You got questions, I got answers. Occasionally I post jobs that my company offers. We hire remotely to do our job. You'll probably encounter me at some point. So any of those things, if you just want to reach out and say hi, I'm here. Terry Pep Carter.
Terry Pep Carter on Twitter, on Instagram. Check him out, follow him, and we're looking forward to seeing the pictures of your house and having
yes.
Everybody else, mattreport.com/subscribe to join the mailing list. It's the best place to get connected. See you in the next episode.
Thanks to Malcare and Blogvault for supporting today's episode. If it weren't for them, I couldn't do these shows. Check them out at malcare.com, blogvault.net. If you want to protect your high-performance websites with backups and security and malware removal, it's Malcare and Blogvault. Those are the only two names you need to know. Thanks for listening to today's episode. See you in the next one.